Okay, let's start with number 10. Did you guys go to the movies over the weekend?
I didn't. They really needed a win here, so it's good for them that this maybe beat expectations a little bit. Expectations were low,
Very low,
that 30 million mark, but you know, a beat is good.
Given the track record over the last several years for DreamWorks, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any real insight into the
some of the loan requirements for mortgages. More spending is going to be key here. The government has been really pushing for corporates to be the big winners, whether it be in tech, and moving away from some of the really heavy manufacturing, some of these higher paying jobs. So getting their population base to spend more seems like numero uno for the Chinese.
It also seems like it's hard to see the long-term.
Another SUV maker.
Their labor laws are much more friendly.
Right, and where these luxury car makers have found success in terms of finding the right labor force and building out these bigger vehicles for the U.S. audience.
I'd kind of forgotten about Volvo as a brand. You just don't.
You know, it's a brand that you think about your parents drove, right? I mean, it's not exactly a car that if you want to be young and hip, you're not going to go for a Volvo.
Between them, Lincoln, there's some of these older perceptions about, you know, that brand that they're going to have to shake off. And sales in the U.S. have been disappointing for them. So, you know, maybe this is their end to try to
turn that
find
around.
That audience.
As the CEO said, it's critical for them. Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida planning to jump into
and that seemed to communicate well with the voters, at least in Obama's case. So, you know, in the breadth of this field, he's the third, so that might help edge him out third to announce. You have folks like Carly Fiorina, the former HP chief, saying she's 90% sure she's going to run. So those little X factors might be really important for this wide swath of GOP candidates.
It's also important to bear in mind there's so many candidates that the winning candidate may not need that much.
Levchin of PayPal Mafia fame, all coming out and denouncing this, piling on his Angie's List. So, you know, Mike Pence, the governor, had also flirted with the idea of potentially running. And at this point, you have the biggest titans of the tech industry coming out against him saying, what are you doing here? You are potentially discriminating against a wide berth of people.
Right, and it's against, you know, what's been so remarkable is this whole sort of viewpoint or narrative in the U.S. in the last few years that has swung so much from one direction to now this other direction, which is that there are plenty of supporters now for gay rights and for gay marriage, that something like this seems so antiquated now.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay, number 2, guys, high-frequency trade.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by this. There's such an arms race.
A little bit surprised. It's been a while since I covered macro markets, about a year and a half ago. I cover the tech companies now, so I get the edge. But you know, 24,000 per event with the Spider SPX ETF. That was a little surprising for me. I maybe expected a little bit more, but on $100 million moving in the markets on these events, it really isn't that much.
Well, and as Joe says, you know, with the arms race, it makes you wonder, or makes these firms wonder, you know, what's the cost really of getting faster and faster when the returns are peanuts, it seems, right? Okay, number 1, Greek Prime Minister, right? And it was kind of getting ugly last week.
Scary.
Then, yeah, scary is a good word. Then none of that indicates to you that we're at the start of a bear market.
That's not how bear markets start historically. Markets that go down like they did last week. So I may be
at the top. Okay, what does that mean? Spell out deeply embedded optimism.
Well, I'll give you a great statistic. In the last 5 bear market down to get us a couple more points down, because after all, I said I was bullish, but you know I really didn't mean it. It really wasn't there. Now that I see it, earnings are anything more than just a cyclical twerp.
Bloomberg analysts have earnings down 5.8% first quarter, 4.2% estimate falling in the second quarter, another 1% in the third quarter. Where is the lack of concern? At what point do those levels, where's that bottom?
And that's because it's where we look. Sometimes the street looks at what's going on right now for earnings, but sometimes it looks close to it. The street can sort of swing its focus out a few months, a few quarters, and that's very difficult to try and predict when it happens.
Now, John, you have, 3 investment themes, right? So one is, you say, buy integrated oil.
Right.
Is that right? So buy big oil. 2 is buy biotechs. You buy on weakness, right? So undervalued biotechs.
Well, there's no such thing. Not going to tumble. It sort of rises up to meet you and cushion the blow. So